Well, hello, beautiful people. We are back at it again. We are talking about Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil, and we are now into chapter 3. Last video, we got a chance to actually hear the devil and just how menacing his voice is. I mean, it's so awesome, and I love it, and how he uses fear as the basis for him to be able to control people. And there was a couple other things that I wanted to read and talk about that I didn't get a chance to talk about because I know the video was kind of running a little long. But before we get to the continuation of this reading of chapter 3, just wanted to kind of go over a couple of things. So just to kind of give my opinion on a couple of things here. So one of the things that Hill had a tendency to talk about, which again, this book was written in, early 1930s. So I personally, when it comes to the Rockefellers, I don't necessarily see them as good people. I don't know too much about them. From what I have heard, it sounds like they had good intentions back in the day, but those intentions to turn nefarious. So I don't know if this is necessarily aged well personally for me, just because of all the things that I do know about the Rockefellers, not trying to get too much into conspiracy theory and things like that. But I would definitely take the time to research them. But just know when you do research them, the philanthropy stuff, I'm not in agreement with as far as now. Again, back in the day, that might have been the case, but it's not so much now. So I did want to just express that and explain that. And then we can also read this little excerpt, because again, all of these excerpts, if you guys aren't aware, these are coming from the actual author, not Napoleon Hill, but Sharon Leckler, because this book was written 70 years ago, and she actually just got a hold of the manuscript 70 years later. And so she's kind of giving her insight and her opinions on how she thinks the book was written, what Napoleon Hill's mindset was back then. So Hill ranges back and forth across the devil's field of battle. His earlier point about the Rockefellers' philanthropy is followed by an explanation of why young people are on the road to hell. And she's basically saying that she believes that the author is challenging us to hold several ideas in mind at once, as he lets the devil do his dirty work with hope of confusing us. So look for other examples throughout the books and you will find them. Like, for example, what she's talking about here is also cigarettes, and how ahead of time Napoleon Hill was when it came to people taking cigarettes and what that can do, and just getting them to that specific 2 packs a day, and how harmful that can be in causing resistance to the mind and basically allowing the devil to take over your mind through that. So hopefully we don't have any smokers in here. And again, no judgment if you are, but it's just something now that if you're struggling with this and you are looking for change, just know that there's information out there and there are consequences, to your actions. And I know a lot of people still, unfortunately, are still smoking. And it's debatable what you smoke to. I mean, we're not judging anybody in this sense, but just understand, the more you have the ability to control your mind without outside influence, that can also mean alcohol too. Everything is just good in moderation, the better off you're going to be. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. So I just wanted to, interject with that really quickly here. And then let's go ahead and continue, because I think we left off right here with Your Majesty. And he's going to talk about how he had everything wrong. So let's go ahead and finish listening here.
Began this interview, I had you all wrong. I thought you were a fraud and a fake, but I see now that you are quite real and very powerful.
Your apology is accepted, but you need not have bothered. Millions of people have questioned my power, and I got most of them at the gate as they came over.
Wow.
I ask no person to believe in me. I prefer that people fear me. I am no beggar. I take what I want by cleverness and force. Begging people to believe is the business of my opposition, not mine.
Your Majesty will please pardon my rudeness, but I would not be able to look myself in the face again if I did not tell you, here and now, that you are the damnedest fiend ever to be turned loose on innocent people. I always had the wrong conception of you. I thought you were kind enough to let people alone while they were living, that you merely tortured their souls after death. Now I learn from your own brazen confession that you destroy their right to freedom of thought and cause them to go through a living hell on earth. What do you have to say to that?
I get what I want by exercising self-control. It is not so good for my own business, but I suggest you emulate me instead of criticizing me.
Wow.
You call yourself a thinker, and you are. Otherwise, you would never have forced this interview on me. But you will never be the sort of thinker that frightens me unless you gain and exercise greater control over your own emotions.
Let us get away from personalities. I came here to learn more about you, not to discuss myself. Please go ahead and tell me of the many tricks you have devised for gaining control of the human mind. What is your most powerful weapon just now?
That is a difficult question to answer. I have so many devices for entering human minds and controlling them that it is difficult to say which are the most powerful. Right at the moment, I am trying to bring about another world war. My friends here in Washington are helping me to involve America in the war. If I can start the world to killing on a wholesale basis, I shall be able to put into operation my favorite device for mind control. It is what you call mass fear. I used this device to bring about the other World War in 1914. I used it to bring about the economic depression in 1929. And if my opposition had not double-crossed me, I would now be in possession of every man, woman, and child in the world. You can see for yourself how near I came to world domination. The thing I have been struggling to attain for thousands of years.
Here, the devil claims to be working with both sides to instigate war, based on his sowing the seeds of fear throughout the world. This is the essence of what has come to be known in our time as terrorism and the response to it. Through Hill's work, the devil takes credit for not only both world wars, but also the Great Depression. It is easy to add the current economic collapse to his list of credits. Both war and economic collapse breed fear in people's minds and are certainly the work of the devil.
Yes, I see your point. Who wouldn't? You are a very ingenious manipulator of the minds of people. Is your devilish business carried on only through people of high position and great influence?
Oh, no. I use the minds of people in all walks of life. As a matter of fact, I prefer the type of person who makes no pretense of thinking. I can manipulate that sort of person without difficulty. I could not control 98% of the people of the world if all people were skilled in thinking for themselves.
I'm interested in the welfare of those people whom you claim to control. Therefore, I wish you to tell me all of the tricks by which you enter and control their minds. I want a complete confession from you, so begin with your cleverest trick.
This is suicide you are forcing on me, but I am helpless. So settle down, and I will place in your hands the weapon by which millions of your fellow earthbound will defend themselves against me.
Chapter 4. Drifting with the Devil.
Okay. All right. I know. I knew I want to end it there. That way I can make a new video for chapter 4. But I did want to, go over a couple of things here, because this is very important here. Let me just go back here. I think it was page 67. Yeah. Let's just read this again, because I mean, it really just kind of explains how arrogant the devil is, and it knows, right, that it can control and do the things that it needs to do, and it's very good at what it is. And even with Napoleon Hill saying right here, your majesty will please pardon my rudeness, but I would not be able to look myself in the face again if I did not tell you here and now that you are the damnedest fiend ever to be turned loose on innocent people. And he says, I always had the wrong conception of you. I thought you were kind enough to let people alone while you were living, that you merely tortured their souls after death. And this is something that a lot of people think, right? We don't necessarily think of this hell on earth situation. It's more of like, if you do bad things, you're going to live in damnation in hell for the rest of your life. But what Hill is basically breaking down, and this is what I now truly believe, is that no, we are experiencing hell on earth. This is our own inner hell, and the devil is brazenly doing these things because he can, as long as we're allowing him to control us through fear. So that is very, very powerful. And then he also goes on to say, now I learned from your own brazen confession that you destroy the right to freedom of thought and cause them to go through a living of hell on earth. This is what I was talking about, right? So what do you have to say about that? Now this answer, I mean, wow, the arrogance is just phenomenal. And this is what makes me think that this is all, very real, right? He basically says, I get what I want by exercising self-control. And that's the key, self-control, right? It is not so good for my own business, but I suggest you emulate me instead of criticizing me. So he's basically saying, look, I'm doing what everybody else should be doing. If you're not going to do it, I can take control of you. So there's no need to criticize me, because he's saying you call yourself a thinker, and he says you are. Otherwise, you would never have forced this interview on me, which is true, right? That's how he got to this point. But you will never be the sort of thinker that frightens me unless you gain and exercise greater control over your own emotions. So he's even saying at this point, like, even if you've gotten this far with me, understand that I can still take over at any given time if you do not learn to control your own emotions. So understand that is the key. This is the key right here, owning your own emotions, taking over your life, building up self-awareness, and being aware of what you're doing at all times. Because if not, the devil is lingering in the background, right? And so I just wanted to, explain that and talk about that a little bit further. I really hope you guys are enjoying this like I am, because this stuff is so fascinating. Let me just go ahead and switch back here. Yes, so definitely comment down below. Maybe you guys are having your own personal experiences. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback so far as we continue to dive deep into this book, because I mean, this stuff is just so fascinating, and it's going to get better because you really get a firsthand experience of seeing how the devil works. And hopefully you guys can relate a lot, religion aside, right? Because this is not about religion. This is just about good and evil, however you perceive it. One of the things that I always tell people when you're learning this work, it should enhance already stronger beliefs of what you already believe. So if you have a certain belief, you have a certain religion, this work should go hand in hand with it. You don't have to make a choice, right? It's just guiding you where you feel closer than ever to understanding and feeling closer connected to God, and knowing that there are evil things out there, and that you should focus primarily here and now and not worry about what's going to happen in your afterlife, because we have no control over that. We just don't know what's going to happen after we die. But what about having our best lives here and now, right now, and not having to think about it, and how to gain control and use these tools and techniques that have been passed down to us so graciously throughout the years, where we can now start to manifest and create things that we've always wanted and desired. And so that's why I created this group, in this channel, and I want it to continue to grow. So I hope you guys, pass this information on to those who enjoy this kind of stuff, and continue along this journey with me, because we're all learning together, just grow together as a community, as a team. I am still working on the coaching program and trying to build up that community. It is a lot of work, you guys. I'm just trying to be honest here. So I know I said I was going to get it done by the end of last month, but we're going to get it into this month, hopefully. And, once it does happen, I'll have a special video, because I just want to share so many other techniques that I do have that I can't necessarily share here because of YouTube and things like that. But we will have that and go into exactly how to join for those type of things. So I'll leave it there. And you guys, until next time, which should be tomorrow, or if you're watching this whenever, it'll be, after the weekend, because again, I'm doing these Mondays through Friday. you'll get to see, and then we'll jump right into chapter 4. All right, so you guys make it a great day. Take care.